Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into one of the biggest, most critical decisions in all of tech, the high-stakes choice between the three absolute giants of cloud computing. If you're running a business these days, this question isn't really a matter of if you'll move to the cloud, it's which one are you going to bet your future on? And for a really good reason. This choice, it's the foundation, the very backbone of your entire technology strategy. Everything from the services you can use, to the cost you're going to pay, to your ability to innovate. It all hangs on this decision. So yeah, the stakes are incredibly high. Okay, let's get into it. So we have structured this whole thing like a multi-round showdown, a real prize fight. First, we'll meet the contenders. Then we're going to pit them against each other on market share, then pricing, and, of course, their core services, before we help you figure out who your champion should be.
First up, let's get to know our contenders. Because how they got into the ring in the first place, well, that tells you a whole lot about their strengths today.
So AWS, they were the true trailblazer. They basically created the market as we know it with this revolutionary idea of pay-as-you-go. Then came GCP, born from the same gigantic global network that powers Google Search and YouTube. And then, a couple of years later, Azure arrived, with Microsoft playing a brilliant hand, converting its massive base of enterprise customers into cloud users.
Okay, let's head into our first round, market share. Who really owns the cloud right now?
This chart tells such a compelling story. AWS is still the clear leader, no question, holding down almost a third of the entire market. But look at Azure. They are closing that gap at a really impressive clip. And they're doing it by leveraging those long-standing relationships with big companies. GCP, while in third, is showing really steady growth, especially in those data and AI-heavy industries.
And all that market share is backed by a truly staggering physical presence. We are talking about a global web of data centers. Now, AWS and GCP, they really emphasize having multiple availability zones in each region. Think of them as separate data centers close by for amazing redundancy. Azure uses a paired region model, linking up two different geographic locations for disaster recovery. But here's the key takeaway. All three have the massive global scale to keep your stuff running fast and reliably, no matter where your customers are.
All right, next up is the round that's probably the most complicated, and it's the one everybody asks about, pricing. And this isn't just about the sticker price you see on the website. The real cost is often hiding in the tiny details of how they bill you, the discounts they offer, and, of course, data transfer fees. So one of the first crucial differences is how they charge you. AWS and GCP, they bill you by the second. This is perfect for those quick, spiky jobs where you only want to pay for exactly what you use. Azure, on the other hand, usually rounds up to the nearest minute. Now, that might sound like a tiny detail, but trust me, for certain kinds of workloads, those seconds can really add up. Now, all three platforms reward you big time for commitment. If you can predict what you're going to use for the next 1 to 3 years, you can get huge savings. AWS and Azure call these reserved instances. What's really cool about GCP is their automatic sustained use discounts. They just kick in the longer you run something, rewarding you for consistency without you having to do anything up front.
Okay, let's do a direct head-to-head comparison. We'll look at a standard on-demand virtual machine, 2 CPUs, 8 gigs of RAM. On AWS, you're looking at just under $44 a month.
Now, for that exact same setup, Azure comes in as the priciest of the three, at just over $48 a month for that on-demand use. And GCP, well, it lands right in the middle. This really just goes to show you how fierce the competition is on that base compute pricing. But remember, this is just the sticker price. The real cost comes out when you start factoring in things like storage, data transfer, and of course, those long-term discounts.
All right, let's get to our final round, the core services. Beyond just the cost, what can these platforms actually do? This is the feature face-off.
When it comes to the raw power of compute, all three of these guys are absolute powerhouses. AWS's EC2 just has the most dizzying variety of machine types. Azure Virtual Machines, as you'd expect, integrate beautifully with Windows environments. And Google's Kubernetes Engine, or GKE, is widely seen as the gold standard for running containers, which makes a lot of sense considering Google invented Kubernetes in the first place. Now, for storage, we're talking about things like images, videos, and backups, what's called object storage. Amazon's S3 is the mature, de facto standard in the industry. So many tools are just built to work with it right out of the box. That said, Azure's blob storage can often be way more cost-effective if you have huge amounts of data, especially if you have one of their enterprise agreements. But, it's really in AI and machine learning where you start to see the key differences pop up. GCP, powered by all of Google's deep research and tools like TensorFlow, is often seen as the real innovator here. AWS, on the other hand, offers the most comprehensive end-to-end toolkit with a service called SageMaker. And Azure, they excel at integrating powerful AI right into the business intelligence tools that big companies are already using every single day.
So, after 3 really tough rounds, it is time for the final verdict. But the goal here isn't to name one single winner, because honestly, there isn't one. The real goal is to help you find your champion.
AWS is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the cloud. It's the safest bet for big businesses that need a massive, mature portfolio of tools, battle-tested reliability, and just unparalleled scale. If you can think of a service you need, chances are AWS has it. Azure is just the natural choice for the Microsoft-centric world. I mean, if your whole organization already runs on Windows Server, Office 365, and Active Directory, Azure's seamless integration and its incredible hybrid cloud abilities are just, well, they're incredibly compelling. And GCP, it's the challenger to bet on for the future. It's the hands-down champion for businesses that are built on data. If you are working with cutting-edge AI, doing some heavy-duty big data analytics, or you just value straightforward, easy-to-understand billing, GCP is a fantastic choice. To put it simply, for startups, GCP's generous free tier and its simplicity is a huge plus. As a company starts to scale, that incredible depth and variety you get with AWS becomes invaluable. And for the big, regulated enterprises, Azure's powerful integration and compliance features are more often than not the deciding factor. At the end of the day, the right cloud partner isn't just another vendor. They are the literal foundation for your innovation. The right choice depends completely on your unique business needs, your team's expertise, and your vision for what's next. So the only question left is which one will you build your future on?